All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Sarabjit Kaur. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend 16th East Asia Summit virtually today. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 103 crore 48 lakh mark. Indian Railways run 668 trips of 110 special trains to ensure smooth travel of passengers during festive season. Indian Army celebrates 75th Infantry Day today. Indian origin politician Anita Anand appointed as Canada's new defense minister. United States calls for support to Taiwan's participation in UN system. United Nations warns world still on track for catastrophic global temperature rise of around 2.7 degrees Celsius. And in cricket, Pakistan beat New Zealand by 5 wickets at Sharjah, while South Africa defeat West Indies by 8 wickets at Dubai in Super 12 stage of T20 World Cup. As India created history by administering 100 crore doses of vaccine against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festival season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in the morning news and will continue till 15th of August 2022. India Post has joined hands as the logistics partner with All India Radio News for the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Recalling our yesterday's question. As per the Flag Code of India, what is the ratio of the length to width of our flag? The correct answer is 3:2. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners from across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is KSS Seshan from Hyderabad in Telangana.
It is a matter of great gratification to know that I am the winner of the quiz conducted by All India Radio Delhi commemorating the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I have a close affinity with All India Radio since my college days, as the news on radio are reliable and authentic. I have grown listening to the scintillating voices of the erstwhile news readers on AIR like Melval Edie, Mello, Manohar Cole, Sharada Srinivasan and a host of others. All India Radio is also another source for youngsters to improve vocabulary and pronunciation in English. I profusely thank the All India Radio for the honor done to me.
The next question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with our listeners on Monday, 1st of November. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in Amrit Mahotsav quiz with AIR News. And now news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the 16th East Asia Summit, which will be held virtually today. The East Asia Summit is the premier leaders-led forum in the Indo-Pacific. Since its inception in 2005, it has played a significant role in the strategic and geopolitical evolution of East Asia. We have more from our correspondent.
At the 16th East Asia Summit, leaders will discuss matters of regional and international interest and concern, including maritime security, terrorism, and COVID-19 cooperation. Leaders are also expected to accept declaration on mental health, economic recovery through tourism, and green recovery, which are being co-sponsored by India. Apart from the 10 ASEAN member states, East Asia Summit includes India, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, United States, and Russia. India, being a founding member of the East Asia Summit, is committed to strengthening the East Asia Summit and making it more effective for dealing with contemporary challenges. It is also an important platform for furthering practical cooperation in the Indo-Pacific by building open the convergence between ASEAN Outlook on Indo-Pacific and Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. Anupam Mishra, AIR News, Delhi.
The Prime Minister will attend the 18th ASEAN-India Summit to be held virtually tomorrow at the invitation of Sultan of Brunei. The summit will be attended by heads of state and heads of government of the ASEAN countries. The 18th ASEAN-India Summit will review the status of ASEAN-India strategic partnership and take stock of progress made in key areas.
Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia will interact with the health ministers of all states in New Delhi today. During the meeting, discussions will be held on ramping up COVID-19 vaccination drive and also on PM Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, which was launched on Monday. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 103 crore 48 lakh mark. The Union Health Ministry said that more than 51 lakh 56,000 vaccine doses were administered yesterday.
भारत का टीकाकरण ये ही जान बचाएगा, ये संकट दूर भगाएगा। मिलकर विश्व बचाएं सबकी जिम्मेदारी, ये संकट दूर भगाएं जन जन भागीदारी। टीकाकरण से ही मात खाएगी ये महामारी। है विराट है विशाल भारत का संदेश, टीके से बचा है देश।
The Uttar Pradesh government has decided to withdraw the cases related to violation of COVID-19 guidelines in the state. The decision, which is in line with the Allahabad High Court's order of 8th of October, will give a big relief to around 3 lakh people. Our correspondent has more details.
The state government yesterday issued an order for withdrawal of over 3 lakh cases against general public regarding violation of COVID protocol and lockdown guidelines. According to the order, the cases registered under Disaster Management Act, Epidemic Diseases Act, IPC Section 188 and other less grave sections which have imprisonment of maximum of 2 years will be withdrawn. The order says that the decision was taken in the wake of sharp decline in COVID infection in the state. The state, with an estimated population of around 25 crores, yesterday recorded only 5 new COVID cases. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
The Indian Railways has made special arrangements in the ongoing festive season for the passengers travelling to their native places to celebrate festivals with their families. For the convenience of rail travellers and to clear extra rush of passengers during the season, Railways is running 668 trips of 110 special trains from Durga Puja till Chhath Puja this year. The Railway Ministry said augmentation of coaches in regular trains is being done to ensure berth availability during this festive rush. Crowd controlling measures are being done with the supervision of Railway Protection Force, RPF staff. Additional RPF personnel have been deployed in major stations to ensure security of passengers. Talking exclusively to AIR News, Union Minister of State for Railways, Rao Sahib Danve said more trains can be run in the future to handle the passenger rush.
रेलवे ने त्योहारों को देखते हुए अतिरिक्त 600 ज्यादा ट्रेनें चला रही है। देश में अलग हिस्सों से ये ट्रेनें चल रही है। उत्तर से लेकर दक्षिण के राज्यों से तमाम ये ट्रेनें चल रही है। जरूरत पड़ने पर और ट्रेनें हम चला सकते हैं। लगातार हम इसके मॉनिटरिंग कर रहे हैं। सभी डीआरएम को अतिरिक्त ट्रेनें चलाने के लिए निर्देश दिए गए हैं। रेलवे बोर्ड इस पर नजर रखी हुई है। अगर कोई दिक्कत है तो हम और इसमें ट्रेन बढ़ा सकते हैं।
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend 16th East Asia Summit virtually today. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 103 crores 48 lakh mark. Indian Railways run 668 trips of 110 special trains to ensure smooth travel of passengers during festive season. Indian Army celebrates 75th Infantry Day today. Indian origin politician Anita Anand appointed as Canada's new defense minister. United States calls for support to Taiwan's participation in UN system. United Nations warns world still on track for catastrophic global temperature rise of around 2.7 degrees Celsius. And in cricket, Pakistan beat New Zealand by 5 wickets at Sharjah, while South Africa defeat West Indies by 8 wickets at Dubai in Super 12 stage of T20 World Cup. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
The Indian Army is celebrating the 75th Infantry Day today. The day is observed as a remembrance of the first military event of independent India when the Indian Army repelled the first attack on the Indian soil on 27th October 1947 in the Kashmir Valley. The victory was accomplished by the personnel of the 1st Battalion of the Sikh Regiment. Director General of Infantry, Lieutenant General A.K. Samantra, in his message on All India Radio, complimented the infantrymen for their selfless devotion to duty and professionalism while serving under trying and difficult conditions.
In response to the threat posed to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our nation, on this day in 1947, the leading elements of the Indian Army from 1st Battalion of the Sikh Regiment air-landed at Srinagar and fought the raiders gallantly. The gallant action of these valiant infantry soldiers reversed the tide of the battle and contributed significantly towards restoring status of the state as an integral part of independent India. And infantry rejoices thwarting the inimical actions of adversaries by being poised, trained and motivated at all times. Braving the impossible is the second nature of an infantryman.
The first India-Kyrgyzstan strategic dialogue between the National Security Council secretariats was held in New Delhi yesterday. The Indian side was led by National Security Advisor Ajit Dobhal and the Kyrgyz side was led by Secretary of Security Council Lieutenant General Marat Imankulov. Official sources said the two sides held discussions on threats and challenges facing both countries, as well as the regional security environment, with special reference to Afghanistan. The two sides welcomed similarity of views on these matters and agreed upon steps to enhance bilateral security cooperation between the relevant bodies, including in the fields of counter-terrorism, combating radicalization, narcotics control, and defense cooperation.
The sea phase of the maiden tri-service exercise Konkan Shakti 2021 between India and the United Kingdom is currently being held off the Konkan coast in the Arabian Sea. On completion of the harbour planning phase, the sea phase of the exercise commenced on 24th of this month. This phase will conclude this evening. The Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, has arrested a serving naval officer and 2 retired naval personnel along with 2 private persons for allegedly leaking confidential information related to an ongoing submarines project. The agency conducted searches at 19 locations including Delhi, Noida, Mumbai, Hyderabad and seized important documents and digital evidence which are being examined. It is alleged that the serving officer had discussed crucial details about the ongoing modernization project of Kilo-class submarines with the 2 retired officers for illegal gratification. The agency also questioned several other officers and ex-servicemen. The Navy is also conducting an internal inquiry headed by a Vice Admiral into the case to probe the information leak.
In Madhya Pradesh, campaigning is in full swing for the by-elections to 3 assembly seats and 1 Lok Sabha constituency. The elections are being held for Khandwa parliamentary seat and Jorbat, Prithvipur and Raigaon assembly constituencies in the state. Polling for all these seats will be held on 30th of October, while the counting of votes will be taken up on the 2nd of November. The main contest is between the ruling BJP and the Congress in these elections. We have more in this report.
In view of the importance of these elections, the administration is also making full preparations in every seat. Khandwa Collector Anay Dwivedi told AIR News that all arrangements are being made for fair and peaceful polling in Khandwa Lok Sabha seat.
मतदान की समस्त तैयारी है वो पूरी कर ली गई है और स्वतंत्र, निष्पक्ष और निर्भीक रूप से मतदान हो और निर्वाचन आयोग के समस्त निर्देशों का पालन करते हुए सभी मतदाताओं से यह आग्रह है कि वो अपने मताधिकार का प्रयोग करें.
The Congress is considering these by-elections as a semi-final of the 2023 assembly elections in the state, while the BJP will see the result of the by-polls as a public stamp on the performance of the Shivraj Singh Chauhan-led government. Both the parties have given their full strength in the campaign. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Canada, Indian origin politician Anita Anand was appointed yesterday as the new defence minister in a cabinet reshuffle by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau over a month after his Liberal Party returned to power in the snap polls and amid calls for major military reforms. Ms. Anand will replace long-time Defence Minister, Indian origin Harjit Sajjan, whose handling of the military sexual misconduct crisis has been under criticism. Ms. Anand has a deep background as a corporate lawyer and has worked extensively on corporate governance.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has called on United Nations member states to back Taiwan's meaningful participation in the UN system amid China's continued efforts to limit the island's international participation. Arguing for Taiwan's robust participation in the UN, the top U.S. diplomat yesterday said the island's exclusion undermines the important work of the UN and its related bodies. Mr. Blinken noted that despite the tens of millions of passengers traveling annually through its airports, Taiwan was not represented at the International Civil Aviation Organization Triennial Assembly. The most critical climate change conference since the Paris Agreement, the 26th UN Climate Change Conference of the parties, COP26, is to be hosted by the United Kingdom in Glasgow from 31st of October to 12th of November. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Rome and Glasgow from the 29th of this month to 2nd of November to attend the 16th G20 Summit and the World Leaders Summit of COP26. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison yesterday released country's long-term emissions reduction plan to deliver net zero emissions by 2050. The UK, which holds the presidency of the summit, on Monday published a climate finance delivery plan to provide clarity on when and how developed countries will meet the $100 billion climate finance goal on Monday. The new outlook states that the goal will be met from 2023. This is 3 years later than what was committed to by the developed countries at the Paris summit in 2015. In an exclusive interview with AIR News on the developed nation's delay in meeting the climate financing commitment ahead of COP26, environmentalist Dr. C.K. Varshney said, India is very clear that it is an issue that requires immediate attention.
India is very clear that it is an issue which requires immediate attention, as well as commitment by the emitters of the warming gases and the kind of the legacy emission that they have, and thus they owe a great deal in terms of compensating what they have been enjoying. They need to change their lifestyle dramatically and come forward to show and suggest that how in a time-bound manner they are going to contain the emission of warming gases from now on.
Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has stressed the need to close the leadership gap in climate action. He made the plea at the launch of the UN Environment Programme's Emissions Gap Report 2021 entitled The Heat is On. Mr. Guterres said, the report shows that with the present nationally determined contributions and other firm commitments of countries across the globe, the world is still on track for a catastrophic global temperature rise of around 2.7 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. He reiterated that the clock is ticking. He said the emissions gap is the result of a leadership gap. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Now let's listen to our program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
27th of October is the death anniversary of the great freedom fighter, revolutionary and journalist Brahmabandhu Upadhyay. He was born on February 11, 1861 in Khonnan village of Hooghly district of West Bengal. When he was in high school, he became inclined towards the nationalist movement, and during his college education, he plunged into the freedom movement. Brahmabandhu wanted to join the army of the Maharaja of Gwalior to learn the art of war and drive away the British. He made the effort twice, but returned disappointed with the policy of the Maharaja.
Like many of his contemporaries, Brahmabandhu's desire was to establish national pride, coupled with a spiritual quest. His biographer, Julius Liebner, says, Brahmabandhu made a significant contribution to the shaping of the new India, whose identity began to emerge from the first half of the 19th century. He was a contemporary and a friend of the poet Rabindranath Tagore and Vivekananda. Brahmabandhu edited Bengali paper Sandhya and remained its editor till his last breath. He popularized Swaraj and the Swadeshi movement through Sandhya and another Bengali weekly, Yugantar, and wrote against the British colonialism and European cultural hegemony in Sofia in English. On 10th September 1907, Brahmabandhu was arrested and prosecuted on a charge of sedition. His articles were found to be inflammatory. He refused to defend himself in the court, and on 23rd September 1907, a statement was submitted to the court through his counsel, Barrister Chittaranjan Das.
In the statement, Brahmabandhu said he accepted the entire responsibility of the publication, management and conduct of Shondha, adding he was the writer of the article which appeared in the paper on 13th of August 1907. It was one of the articles forming the subject matter of Brahmabandhu's prosecution. He said he did not want to take part in the trial because he did not believe that in carrying out his humble share of the God-appointed mission of Swaraj, he is in any way accountable to the alien people who happen to rule over Indians and whose interest is and necessarily be in the way of Indians' true national development. During the trial, Brahmabandhu reported pain in his abdomen and was admitted to the Campbell Hospital in Kolkata. He had undergone a surgery but could not overcome his sufferings and passed away on the 27th of October 1907. During the 46-year-old life, Brahmabandhu Upadhyay sought truth relentlessly and engaged in the freedom struggle against foreign domination.
On 27th October 1904, revolutionary freedom fighter Jatindranath Das was born in Kolkata. At the tender age of just 17, he participated in the non-cooperation movement in 1921. Jatin was arrested by the British on 14th June 1929 in connection with the Lahore conspiracy case relating to the killing of British police officer John Saunders by revolutionaries. A crusader for rights of political prisoners, Jatin sat on a 63-day-long hunger strike in the Lahore Central Jail in protest against mistreatment of the prisoners by the British. During the course of this strike, he had to endure numerous hardships. Ultimately, Jatin made supreme sacrifice for the motherland on 13th September 1929. Subhash Chandra Bose described him as the young Dadichi of India.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
As part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, AIR News is airing Nishan, a 75-episode program on landmark sites associated with the freedom movement. It is being broadcast every Wednesday in our Parikrama program at 4:45 p.m. In today's episode, we will bring you the historical importance of August Kranti Maidan of Mumbai in the freedom movement of the country.
स्वाधीनता संग्राम के वे निशान जो साक्षी हैं हमारे सेनानियों के संघर्ष और बलिदान के। आकाशवाणी समाचार ला रहा है विशेष श्रृंखला निशान। हर बुधवार को शाम 4:45 पर कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर।
In the men's T20 Cricket World Cup, Pakistan beat New Zealand by 5 wickets at Sharjah Cricket Stadium last night to pick up their second straight win in the Super 12 stage. Earlier, South Africa defeated the West Indies by 8 wickets in Dubai. All India Radio is broadcasting ball-by-ball commentary of the World Cup matches. Today, England will face Bangladesh at 3:30 p.m. and Scotland will take on Namibia at 7:30 in the evening. Both the matches will be played in Abu Dhabi.
And now let us take a look at the weather update for today. In the national capital, we shall have a mainly clear sky with the temperature varying between 16 and 28 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky, while Chennai will experience generally cloudy sky with light rain. Kolkata will have a partly cloudy sky with the possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. In Srinagar, temperature will hover between 5 and 18 degrees Celsius. In Jammu, the minimum temperature was 13 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 30 degrees Celsius. Leh and Gilgit will have a forecast for clear sky. Muzaffarabad is also likely to experience mainly clear sky. Most of the northeastern cities, including Guwahati, Imphal, Shillong, Aizawl, Kohima and Itanagar, will have a partly cloudy sky with maximum temperature of nearly 31 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Navy espionage racket busted, headlines The Pioneer. Navy commander, 2 retired officers held for leaking submarine information, reports The Tribune. On COVID, the Statesman headline reads, daily spike lowest in 238 days, 356 deaths. Expedite coverage of second dose, government to tell states, writes the Times of India. The paper also informs that double jabs and negative report must to fly to the US from November 8th. Government proposes new child safety rules for mobikes, writes the Asian Age. 40 kilometers per hour limit proposed for bikes with child pillion, reports the Tribune. Business Standard quotes NCAER as saying that the business sentiment is at a 2-year high. And finally, India lost $87 billion to climate disasters last year, says World Meteorological Organization, and the UN has issued a fresh warning that the world is set for 2.7 degrees centigrade rise in temperature this century on current emission pledges. Both stories appear in Hindustan Times.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend 16th East Asia Summit virtually today. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 103 crore 48 lakh mark. Indian Railways run 668 trips of 110 special trains to ensure smooth travel of passengers during festive season. Indian Army celebrates its 75th Infantry Day today. Indian origin politician Anita Anand appointed as Canada's new defense minister. United States calls for support to Taiwan's participation in UN system. United Nations warns world still on track for catastrophic global temperature rise of around 2.7 degrees Celsius. And in cricket, Pakistan beat New Zealand by 5 wickets at Sharjah, while South Africa defeat West Indies by 8 wickets at Dubai in Super 12 stage T20 World Cup. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.